Hello, everyone. I am thrilled to welcome you to Construction 2030, a show on the industry where it's moving, featuring so many of the leaders that have done such great work and will continue to. And I have the pleasure today of interviewing the show's normal host, Shelley Armato. Shelley, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you. I'm so excited. I love to talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess the first question I would have for you is how did you get into the industry? Just give a little background on yourself.
Yeah, thank you. So kind of have one of a crazy story, actually. My husband had been in the construction business for 45 years. He came to me with this great idea in 2006. He's like, hey, Shelley, why don't you open a woman-owned blueprint company? You'll get so much business because you're a woman, LOL. So being so many times in situations, people don't really share the rest of the story. So I wrote a check for $15,000. I went into this garage, all this equipment was there, taught myself how to make it work, what was going on, used his contacts to get some business, and quickly realized that we're missing all these documents. Like, excuse me, does the owner know that this is all missing, or who are we billing for this? What do we do? And so the conversation kept on saying, well, it's just status quo, status quo. Well, I don't do status quo. So I created with my husband what now is a 14-year organization that's disrupting the construction industry with knowledge. Is that the craziest thing? Like knowledge? Knowledge, seriously. That's the deal.
Awesome. Now, when you think about the industry and doing a podcast, what led you to want to do this? Why do you want to be featuring people? What are you hoping that knowledge to what you just said? What's going to be shared on this?
So this is going to be a platform about construction. It sounds like, well, we're building something. So it's twofold. Number one is I want to know how they see the industry moving forward. I want to see like what's their perspective, what's some challenges they could currently could be experiencing, that something that maybe we could come together and collaborate to solve some challenges. But number two, I want the construction of them. Like, tell me how you became to be in this position. What kind of tools do you use to build yourself in a capacity that you're going to the next level? So it's two forms of construction. One is, yes, constructing, projects, and that's a whole nother animal. But gosh, what did you do to construct yourself that can help someone else maybe build some building blocks and get, a more experienced capacity?
Yeah, it's kind of ironic. It's construction as an
Yeah.
industry, and then it's how do we build ourselves as construction leaders.
Yeah.
I mean, when you see where the industry is moving, obviously you're very involved in cloud and automation yourself. Do
Yeah.
you feel like there's going to be an industry shift towards this digital transformation that's coming? Where do you see us in that life cycle?
Yeah, well, we definitely see a shift happening. The challenge is just it's created more document disasters. So because no one is vetting or organizing this information, it's just another, as my grandson who is 7 says, catastrophe. It's just another document nightmare that's now digital. So, I mean, we sit back, everybody's talking about APIs. How do we build an API for this or whatever? And it's just like, stop. You can't do that until you have vetted, organized knowledge to make sure that you are collaborating on the same information. So I think it's moved really quickly, but I think it's caused even more problems and more litigation and more change orders. And so again, our goal is to just wrap that back around and say, how do we do this better?
Well, it's so interesting when you think about unintended consequences. If you move towards digital and you'd think it's better or faster or whatever, but it actually creates a lot of drag on the back end that's more complicated. And one of the things that struck me about your story when we first met was how much you were just fed up with the ethical dilemmas that were facing owners due to this lack of transparency. Can you speak to that?
Yeah. Okay. So that like brings me whole thing to being a grandmother. My number one conversation with my grandchildren is about integrity and always doing the right thing, even whenever the consequences feel uncomfortable, but always speaking truth, always doing the right thing, because I think that's what changes our world. So in construction, owners have one opportunity and it's called friendship. Well, we'll just be friends. We'll just be friends. Well, that doesn't work in any kind of business. I don't want to be your friend. I want to outperform. And if a friendship occurs, that's great. But no, don't look at me as a friend. Look at me as a business ally that I can help transform your time and give you peace of mind and make sure that everything is being performed the way it should be.
And it's interesting because in an old school industry, like the ad agency industry is one that I'm not an ad agency, but I've learned a lot about it. And you notice this fascinating thing of like people have a White Sox box. So Ogilvy and Mather gets all the business from McDonald's every year because of the White Sox box. And they don't have, because of these relationships at the top, or in a more corrupt ways, people just pass money under the table. And it's fascinating when you said to take a step back of, we've got to blow the cover off this of business value. Relationships are great, but how many people would actually spend time together if there wasn't money moving? We got to call it what it is. The friendship is go to the nursing home, make friends. It's the business is not about friendship.
No, no, no. I
Yeah.
mean, I've actually, I've become really angry from what I've seen happen. And I keep laughing that like this is a Netflix series because whoever thought of changing meeting minutes? Whoever thought of just changing contracts? Or whoever thought of just the apathy that, big deal. It's a really big deal. It affects everyone's life. My husband's company, when it went out of business, there was this particular company that he worked for. And ironically, as God would have it, I ran into them at a trade show and I was talking to them about, oh my gosh, look at what we do. And they just said really haphazardly, well, we really don't care about the library. And I mean, that lady's lucky that she still has eyeballs because I want to come over that table and be like, excuse me, do you know what you did to my husband's company because of that attitude? But she just was like, we'll just throw money at it. Well, I'm not into throwing money. Like, give me my facts. I can deal with the facts if I have the facts. If I don't have the facts, I'm speculating, and that doesn't work. So I might have, I have total issues about that.
Yeah, well, and I think it's cool how you're bringing transparency. It's not only time saving; it's also honesty and transparency. And I feel like that's something that you're saying the industry needs. That if you think about construction 2030, there
Yeah.
should be more of that. And just like I know yesterday being International Women's Day, I know something you're passionate about as a woman entrepreneur is how do you bring some of that transparency and equal opportunity there. I think we'd see an industry hopefully in 9 years that's a lot more ethical,
Yeah.
and some of these under the table RFP misuse, building over quoting, like automation and transparency and process should really help eliminate that.
Yeah, it's really interesting. This is my philosophy. It's a typically man's world that I'm dealing with, and I understand my role and I understand how I have to play in order to be in that capacity, which I'm pretty good at that. But the deal is if you move the fence at work, you'll move your fence at home, and that creates generational curses of moving the fence. So I say bring the fence back in. I mean, one of the meetings I was at Capitol Grill. The general contractor bought this huge, what I call the Tower of Terror. And it was the first time I'd ever been exposed to this. So I'm sure if there was a camera on me, I would have been like, so they bring it in, and I mean, they start talking to the owner, like, oh my God, your wife, I mean, she should be a movie star. And oh, your son's going to go to the NFL. And I'm like, do these people know him? Well, no, they did not know him. They had just researched and raped him is what I call. So anyway, what I call it. So he's sitting there, he drank 4 martinis. He paid for them himself because you're not allowed to buy a drink. And I mean, they got him smashed. And here I'm sitting with a glass of wine. And I'm like, that man has 4 kids and a wife at home. And how is he going to get home? Number one. And number two is, why are they doing that to him? Well, the deal is at the 4th martini, the question was, what's the real number? Hey, what's the real number? And I was, what? Oh, no. He did. And I mean, I was not in a role where I should have taken myself, but I was just like, he is not talking about that right now. He is not in any capacity to do that. We are done with dinner. And he got mad at me. He's like, you embarrassed me. I said, not as much as you would have embarrassed yourself. I mean, but that's the deal. Get them drunk, get them talking. Let's talk about fishing and how beautiful your wife is and your 4 kids. And I was just like, this is what happens. They rape the person that has the capacity to write them checks. And so anyway, I got in the car on the way home and I was telling my husband how outraged I was. And he goes, Shelley, that's just the way it is. And I said, there's never been that's the way it is for me. I refuse to play there. So yeah, sometimes it definitely costs us business. But for the people that get that they want to have knowledge that they can actually trust, it's a no-brainer. It's like, I mean, my phone rings at least twice a week of someone saying, hey, I heard about you. When can you be wherever? And luckily, working with you, one of the opportunities I got this week was with a law firm. And typically the law firms are a part of the challenge because they're making so much money hoping that someone gets sued. And so this law firm, he said, when can you be in Rochester? I want you to meet the chairman of the board. Where have you been? We have clients that need you right now. And I'm like, I will be there. I'm in a situation with a family member that's ill right now. So I'm kind of Yoko in the head, but I'll still be like wherever they need me to be. But imagine professionals saying, I want to do better. I want to be a part of that. And that's what's happening 14 years later. But, it's not an overnight phenomenon. Like people look at us like, wow, look at them. Like, dude, if you knew the rest of the story, you would be like, what happened? What happened was we're resilient, we have courage, and we move forward quickly.
Yes, it's such a cool story of like, I feel like with Veth Group, we've tried to do the same thing over and over again. How do we do the right thing?
Yeah.
Like my industry, a lot of people, we have customers like you who are really good to our people and pay them and are respectful. And there's people who don't. And people laugh at me because like, you're going to try to go to small claims court over like $5,500. I'm like, yes, because it's wrong that you, as the person being kind to us, have less on their bank account than the person who's lying. It's like, yes, I will lose $10,000 to make it right for the customers that we have that are operate with integrity. And people look at me like they look at you like sideways, like, what is wrong with you? It's like, we're kind of like these Batman, but I think in an industry where you see any of them moving is businesses like ours, they build these, like you said, that ally relationship because you are honest with people, you do operate with integrity. And I think it needs more people like us that say this is just enough.
Yeah.
Like it's enough to have like pricing disparities is enough to. So I love that we share that. And I think our faith in Jesus, obviously, I know we both are public about on social media. I think that's something that for us makes it a crusade worth fighting, is we're not answering to a horizontal relationship. But I would love to ask you,
Okay.
apart from the Bible, what books would you recommend for someone in the industry right now, whether business books in general or specific to the construction industry, they've got to be reading?
Yeah. So, this is one that is like mandatory. It's called Fresh Wind, Fresh Fire. It's written by Jim Sumbala. He is the pastor of the Brooklyn Tabernacle Church. Do you know him?
Yeah.
His book. I've been a platinum partner with Tony Robbins. I was like looking at my desk, like what's on my desk right now. I'm reading Daring Greatly. I just hired a coach for keto, which is so amazing because it's beyond the plate. I'm doing all this stuff, but the book that made the most impact in my life was Fresh Wind, Fresh Fire, and the power that we all have within us that can be transformed in any industry. And so that is a must read. It's a short read, but it is such a great book, Fresh Wind, Fresh Fire. And then of course, I'm doing the Morning Miracle right now. I keep transforming myself. I'm 57 years old and like, I am addicted to human improvement. Like what's better,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love Tony Robbins. I think that's so cool. He did that platinum program with him. Yeah. And is he as big in real life as he looks on TV?
Yeah, but it's really weird. He kind of bought the farm here lately. I saw a video of him talking about COVID and I was like, what? Because it got into his pocket. He can't do the live seminars. And so he's like, he was just really bashing COVID and what a scam it was. And I wanted to reach to the screen and just knock his teeth out because he has big teeth. But I was just like, why? How many people have died because of those kind of conversations? What is wrong with you? But so I think he might have gotten a little over the edge, but I don't care. Onward.
Yeah, onward. The way you handle all these things. So if someone wants to reach out to you, is email best? Is LinkedIn best? How do you prefer new communication if someone sees this and wanted to talk to you?
Yeah, so my office line is forwarded to my cell phone. I'm addicted 24/7 to transforming the industry. So my direct line is 816-479-0261. And it forwards to my cell phone if I'm not in the office. I do have a medical situation. I answer the phone 999% of the time, but this one situation does sometimes take me a minute. But no, I want to know how I can help you. I want to know what I can do to help you transform your life. And in construction, the divorce rate is the highest of any industry in construction. It's the highest ever. And it's because there's no integrity. There's no place to stand. The ground's always shifting. Well, I'm saying, you know what? Let's just bring that back. Let's just bring it back. So yeah, predicting change orders. I mean, eliminating change, like all the boxes are checked. So yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, awesome. Well, there, so definitely give Shelley a call. She's also on LinkedIn if you find her there. And really looking forward to what you do with the show. And yeah, thank you for all your partnership with us as well.
Thank you.
So awesome.
Okay, have a great day.